Interviewing potential and talking existing employees out of quitting are two of the most difficult tasks you must perform as a manager. The purpose of interviewing is to select a good performer, educate them about you and the company, determine if there is a mutual fit, and to sell them on the job. As we learned in the previous episode, assessing the performance of your team is difficult. Sitting down with someone for an hour to try and find out how they'll perform in a new environment is near impossible. You have no real choice but to perform the interview. Just realize the chance of failure is high. You should also research past performance by checking references. The problem is, you'll often be talking to a stranger, even if they're 100% honest. What they say won't have much meaning unless you know about how the company operates and what values it works by. During the interview, the applicant should do 80% of the talking, but what they talk about should be your main concern. The good news is you have a great deal of control if you are actively listening. When you ask a question, they may go on and on and on until long after you've lost interest. Most people sit and listen until the end out of courtesy. You should interrupt. Remember, you only have about an hour or so. Don't waste the only asset you have to assess potential performance. The interview is yours to control, and if you don't, you only have yourself to blame. You'll get the most insight if you steer the discussion towards subjects you're both familiar with. Applicants should talk about themselves, their experience, what they've done, and why, as well as past decisions they would change. Just make sure the words they use mean the same thing to both of you. And don't use tricks. The interview should be completely straightforward. Remember, candidates are potential employees. The first impression you make will stay long after you hire them. So show yourself and the environment as it really is. Andy asked Intel's managers for the best interview questions. These are what they provided. Describe some projects that were highly regarded by your management, especially by the levels above your immediate supervisor. What are your weaknesses? How are you working to eliminate them? Convince me why my company should hire you. What are some of the problems you are encountering in your current position? How are you going about solving them? What could you have done to prevent them from cropping up? Why do you think you're ready for this new job? What do you consider your most significant failures? What did you learn from them? Why do you think an engineer should be chosen for a marketing position? Vary this one according to the situation. What was the most important course or project you completed in college? Why was it so important? The information gathered from these questions tends to fall into 4 categories. 1. Technical knowledge. What they know about performing the job they want. 2. What they did. How they performed in the past, using their skills and knowledge. 3. Discrepancies. Any differences between their capabilities and their performance. And 4. Operational values. What guides them on the job. Unlike performance reviews, interviewing is about assessing potential. Don't worry about being blunt. Direct questions tend to bring direct answers, and when they don't, that also reveals something about the candidate. Asking a candidate about a hypothetical situation can also provide valuable information, and the questions that they ask you can reveal a great deal about their capabilities, skills, and values. Finally, ask them what they want to know about you, the company, and the job. The questions they ask will tell you what they already know about the company, based on their research, what they want to know more about, and how well they prepared for the interview. Reference checks are another tool you should use. When you're talking to references, you're after the same information that you tried to get from the candidate. If you know the reference personally, or can find a personal connection to them, you'll have a much better chance of getting real information. The longer you talk, the more likely you'll be able to uncover a common experience or association, which is also why the final minutes of a reference call tend to be the most fruitful. If possible, try to talk to the applicant again after checking references. At the end of the day, careful interviewing and reference checking doesn't guarantee anything. It just increases your odds of getting lucky. Now that we've covered interviewing, it's time to address how to talk an employee out of quitting. When a valued employee who is not motivated to leave for more money quits, you have failed as a manager. Your initial reaction is crucial. In many cases, the employee is quitting because they feel undervalued. If you don't deal with the situation right away, you confirm their feelings. Drop what you're doing and ask them why they are quitting. Let them talk and don't argue. And after they've finished going through their reasons, ask more questions. After the prepared points are delivered, the real issues come out. Don't argue, don't lecture, and don't panic. You need to convey to them that what they do is essential and find out what is troubling them. Don't try to change their mind yet. Buy time. An employee quitting is a significant problem, so ask your manager for help. As this impacts you more than your supervisor, you need to communicate the need for help and work with them to get their participation. Pursue every avenue you can to keep the employee at the company, even if it means transferring them to another department. When you're ready to go back to your report with a solution, you need to make them comfortable with the new arrangement. They might feel like they've forced your hand and that you resent them, or push back and say that they've accepted a job and can't back out. Some people feel pressure to comply with the new commitment, but they've really made two commitments. First to the potential employer and second to you, their current employer. And commitments to people you work with daily are more durable than those made to new acquaintances. If none of this works, accept it, be happy for them, and work together to ensure a smooth handover. Other employees will watch how you treat good leavers, and their morale and commitment to the company will hinge on how you treat them.